Hey folks, it's man once again, and welcome back to another review. And this is actually thanks to DuckmanXXX. I don't know if he's watching, but he was nice enough to send me a lot of very nice stuff, like the Blu-ray, among many other stuff, including this. CM Punk Best in the World 2-disc set. It's kind of weird me doing this now because, of course, for those who don't know, CM Punk was a wrestler who, because of a lot of bad shit going on, he decided to say fuck it and quit. And then he didn't say anything for months, kept quiet, went to his buddy Colt Cabana on a podcast, said his problems and what he went through and stuff going on, health issues, creative issues. And now, apparently, the doctor of WWE wants to sue CM Punk for like $1 million or $2 million for defamation. So much for freedom of speech, huh? That's the thing, so much for freedom of speech. Just shows how shitty WWE is. And honestly, to me, it just confirms, and to be honest, I think they're doing it for this reason. So that no one else gets ideas to do what CM Punk did, was say fuck it, left, and did it on his own terms, and said fuck you guys, and I'm gonna be honest, because hell, what does him lying get him? I mean, even doing the interview, he could have done an interview and they would have paid him a shitload of money because it was a hot topic, but he didn't. And there you go. I know he's getting ready for UFC. Good luck to him on that. But this was actually back in, what was it, 2011? I think 2011. This is when a time where he was getting ready to leave. They said, hey, air your grievances. He did that promo, which was considered a pipe bomb, which I thought was actually cool. They was wearing a Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt. And what was I going to say? 2011. And as we're, 3 years, well, now 4 years. Oh yeah, I was going to mention on that podcast interview, he mentioned how quickly after this came out, Vince McMahon wanted, he was a good guy, they turned him heel. Why? Not because he wanted to, but because Vince is like, well, The Rock's coming back, he needs to work with someone, he needs to work with a bad guy. So why not you? You're popular. And granted, you're still not going to get the main event WrestleMania. It's going to be The Rock and Cena, which, great. Don't give a fuck about John Cena, but it's just funny how things turn out. But you watch this is like what they call a babyface documentary. It's one that CM Punk had his hands in, and it's a really good one, really really good one. But just funny, quickly after, then this is how smart WWE is. Quickly after, hey, let's turn him heel. So he's very hot. He's very, all this stuff going on would make him a gigantic babyface, good guy. Let's turn him heel just because. Can't have him be better than John Cena. Even though John Cena is such dick. Probably literally. I always hated John Cena. John Cena. I never cared for him at all. I never thought he could wrestle. He was a bodybuilder, so he's strong. But that's it. It's like fucking Lex Luger. I never thought he was good on the microphone. John Cena. I never thought he could act. You could tell by his shitty movies and his shitty acting. I didn't give a fuck when he was a Vanilla Ice wannabe. I don't give a fuck when he's a Fruity Pebble motherfucker who's doing movies with Scooby-Doo and Flintstones, and it looks like a starburst exploded on his face and his clothes. A starburst can, he just orgasm, gusher, creamed all over his face, soaked into his clothes. He looks like something a leprechaun would come up and beat the shit out of him, thinking that he's stealing Lucky Charms and melted over his fucking get up. I hate John Cena because he's a part of a reason why I said fuck wrestling, because I don't give a fuck about this guy. This is the guy they're going with. Fuck him. Because he's a phony, he's a fake. Oh, he's like, oh, I'm with the military. Yeah, all you were was a shitty actor in a shitty movie called The Marine. You were never in the Marine Corps. My brother was in the Marine Corps. You were never in the fucking Marine Corps. Yes, I do have a brother. We don't really speak much because we just have different lives going on, but he was in the Marines. John Cena wasn't, so stop the shit. And then the whole, but he does charities. So does every fucking wrestler in that company. Every single fucking wrestler does charity. What's the one guy they always show? John Cena, John Cena, John Cena. Why? Because he gets booed every fucking where, including his hometown. And, oh, well, we gotta make it so people like him. So, listen, hey, he's with sick kids. So, okay, if that's important, like it should be, charity, sick kids, why don't you show it with everybody instead of just the one guy? Mark Henry does it. A lot of other people do it. No, let's not show them. Fuck them. We'll just show John Cena with the sick kids, because that will make John Cena more popular. Can't tell me they don't do that, because they do. But anyway, I'm getting off tangent. But CM Punk, what's on this Blu-ray? I think the only difference between this and the DVD, there's one more match, Rey Mysterio versus CM Punk at Armageddon. There's extra stories, which is in this special features on disc 2, which is actually some fun stuff. Easter greeting, which would be fuck Easter. Him not knowing about diet, so he thought eating chicken wings and apple pie was good. People, hey, you say protein, so I'm eating chicken wings. And hey, it's apple, why not apple pie? ECW arena match, hanging out with Eddie Guerrero, going to wrestling camp, showing off his bus, which is actually, my friend Michael did a kick out of this when they show his bus. Right on his bed is a Captain America comic book. So, if my friend might listen to this, maybe, because I know he's a huge Captain America fan. I just thought it was funny that CM Punk has a Captain America comic book. Because CM Punk is a comic book guy. I mean, I think he even wrote, was it Thor? A Thor comic or something? My favorite one is Kofi's challenge, because Kofi Kingston, which that's a guy I like, Kofi Kingston. They've done absolutely nothing with him, but I like him. You tell that the two of them are close friends and they're riding the bus together, and there's a challenge where Kofi Kingston, I guess, is a big video game guy. And so CM Punk is like, you know, I can beat you at Street Fighter using Zangief, and you can pick anyone. And Kofi's like, man, I'm insulted. You think you can beat me? And lo and behold, because he considers himself a video game guy. And so what happens on camera is CM Punk beats Kofi, and CM Punk is using Zangief and beats Kofi, and Kofi's upset. Like, what? I beat you like 10 times in a row last week. What happened? I thought that was my favorite story. I don't know if that's on YouTube or anything, but that's a very funny one. But other stories like that. And then disc 1, you have other extra stories where the name CM Punk came from. That he was an extra in WWE at one point, and then weird how he went from there to being champion. Their first impressions of CM Punk. The most insulting thing you could say to me, that's when he was in there and someone told him, well, you're here for the TV work. You're John Cena's TV work. And he thought that was pretty insulting. Where he got the phrase is clobbering time, of course, from Fantastic Four, because he is a comic book guy. And what endeared me to this guy was, not on here, but on the podcast with Colt Cabana, his buddy, he talked about how they were offering 12 rounds too. It's like, oh man, I don't want to do these shitty movies. And he mentioned something I thought was fun. He's like, now if you don't do a new Ninja Turtles movie and you don't offer me Casey Jones, then I'll sign with you. But so I thought that was great that he mentions that, hey, if you don't give me the role of Casey Jones in a new Ninja Turtles movie, and of course this is before the shitty one, but Turtles movie, but I thought that was nice. Hey, Ninja Turtles, Casey Jones, that's really cool. I can relate to that, so I thought that was really cool. But matches, Brent Albright versus CM Punk at Ohio Valley Wrestling. The WrestleMania 24 Money in the Bank match, ladder match. CM Punk versus Just Incredible in ECW. CM Punk and Kofi Kingston versus Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase. Not the $1 Million Man, but the other Ted DiBiase. In 2008. CM Punk versus John Morrison at ECW. CM Punk versus William Regal on Raw. And then you get the documentary, which is about an hour and 50 minutes. Which I thought was a really good documentary. And just a lot of interesting stuff about how he didn't really get along with his family. And he sort of, in a way, got adopted into this new family of his friend called Ches. He had a blood brother, who he didn't get along with, who he kind of got all the breaks while CM Punk didn't. And then later on, when he started this wrestling thing, his brother stole his money, all his money. So he hasn't talked to the guy in 12 years, which I don't blame him, because I do relate to that. I know people who have brothers who are schmucks, and that's something I can understand. About how he was in the comic books, and he'd have like comic book guys on his T-shirt, and they talk about how he became straight edge, which is no drugs and no alcohol. And about an early memory that got him into wrestling was Roddy Piper and the Coconut bid against Jimmy Snuka. Him coming up with, hey, we like wrestling, let's just have this homemade wrestling ring. It's called the LWF, the Lunatics Wrestling Federation. And that, hey, well, if we're doing this, let's run shows and let's have people pay for it to see us. And he did, so that was pretty cool. Then him get into the independent wrestling circuit, and there's a moment where they're gonna leave this place where they nicknamed the Barn. So hell, if we're gonna leave this place, let's tear it down. And they're dueling on the rafters, and they're smashing against walls that are breaking up. And how he was a guy who wanted the Iron Man 1 hour matches because he liked the old school territory type of wrestling. And how he got in a ring with Eddie Guerrero, how he got to Ring of Honor and learned from people like Raven and wrestle people like Samoa Joe. And you get to see some really good wrestling. How he got into Ohio Valley Wrestling, which he thought, wow, that's kind of insulting. He's this really big name on the indie circuit, Ring of Honor. And no, you're not going to go to Raw or SmackDown. You're going to go to Ohio Valley Wrestling, which is sort of the development. I guess in a way it's sort of be what NXT would be today. It's what NXT is today in a way. Which honestly, if you want to understand NXT is much better than Raw or SmackDown. So maybe that would be the better place to be. But how he got with Paul Heyman, and how pretty much they didn't want CM Punk because he wasn't the image corporate face of the company. Which it just really spells out how shitty WWE is. Like, neither is Stone Cold Steve Austin, but you could tell that on this side of reviewed, he sort of had to fight his way into that as well. But again, you would think, well, look at Stone Cold Steve Austin. Look how successful he is. Why are you... Because you've been stuck with John Cena for so fucking long that you just, hey, let's stick to our ton up his ass more. Sorry, don't like John Cena. But how, but Paul Heyman believed in him, and when ECW got brought back, more neutered ECW, but still, in 2006, got CM Punk in there. Paul Heyman did, and it sort of goes into his history, then off and on stops to see what he's doing nowadays, then goes back to his history. So they go off and on in the documentary. So like, there's a segment where he's at a convention, comic book convention, and there's Bruce Campbell. He actually gets to meet Stan Lee and Chris Hemsworth, who of course played Thor in the Avengers. It tells about him winning Money in the Bank. And again, they're like, well, you're not corporate enough. Sure, we'll give you this, and you'll cash in, you'll get the title. But then even after he got the title, they did nothing with him. But you're just going to sit here and have it with a while. You're not important enough. Even though you have the title, we still got this stuff with John Cena and maybe Batista and all these other guys. So even though you're the champion, you have the title, you're just gonna. We don't know what to do with this. You hang on to it for a while until we need you. So they did nothing with his. So he was really deflated and pissed off, and they didn't even focus on him at all, even though he's the champion. And hell, I'd be mad too. He felt like he was invisible. In fact, like he goes to this pay-per-view, and then out of the blue, oh, you're not on the pay-per-view. Why? Well, that title needs to go to someone else very quickly, so you're not even going to lose a match. We're just going to have it where people, they beat you up, and you're hurt enough that you can't defend it, so the belt's given up. And I'm like, wow. I'll be the first to admit, I didn't follow CM Punk that much. In fact, because I didn't follow the current, well, even back then, I didn't follow wrestling at that point. I really didn't. And still don't. But really, we'll say I appreciate the guy. And even he admits at times he could be a moody prick. But to be honest, so can I. So I can relate to that. I can really relate to him. I guess technically I'm straight edge because I don't do drugs and I don't drink alcohol. So I guess technically I'm straight edge by default, right? I guess I can relate to the guy. I can really relate to the guy. At least to me. But he also admits he had some fun times, like hanging out with Kofi Kingston and then him winning the tag team belt with Kofi. That was really cool. His matches with William Regal, winning the Intercontinental titles. It's like, well, wait a minute, all this quick time, I won the championship, lost it, then I won the tag team, then I won the Intercontinental, then I won Money in the Bank for a second time. And then, okay, getting this program with Jeff Hardy, which is pretty good. And then, oh, you don't go with Undertaker, you don't lose it, and then do nothing with you still. And it's like, what's the deal? And even I'm thinking, well, what's the deal? What are you doing? If this is how WWE is, no wonder how it fucking sucks. No wonder why he left later, years later. No wonder he's in a shitty state. No wonder why they're getting low buy rates and people boo the shit out of them. Because they're seeing the cracks in the wall. And about how he started this, he's a bad guy now. He's this thing called the Straight Edge Society, where it's almost like a cult type, where shave people's heads and become their disciples. That you must be straight edge, no alcohol, no pills, and how he would get so much heat, people would call him the devil. So he was getting big as a heel. And then it's getting to sort of near the final act of the DVD, well, the Blu-ray, the documentary, how he was really getting fed up because the Straight Edge Society, he tells about how WWE pretty much pissed that away and dwindled when it should not have. And he talks about how he was pissed off with, he couldn't understand why The Miz got a main event at WrestleMania. And to be honest, I don't blame him. I don't know why the fuck The Miz got a WrestleMania main event. Hell, look at him nowadays. Who the fuck gives a shit about The Miz? Whenever they talk about The Miz, I still know there's people who give a shit about CM Punk even after he quit. How many times did CM Punk, CM Punk? You don't hear chiz. Yeah, you hear jizz. That's what The Miz makes when he walked across the floor. Here, there's a jizz head walking. Related to a dickhead walking. Whenever they see The Miz, all they're concentrated on is the guy who's outside of the ring doing pratfalls called Damien Sandow, Mizdow. They don't even do shit what The Miz doing. They just do shit about him. This other guy who's doing a comedy routine while Miz is doing his match. So yeah, a lot of people really give a shit about The Miz, and that was a main event guy at WrestleMania. Great job, WWE. But he was like, what the hell is that? He's fed up. And, you know, he's a guy who wants to be number one. He's a guy who, Daniel Bryan said, who's interviewed, he says a thing that makes a lot of sense, that there's a lot of guys here who just want to come in and they're fine as long as they make money. They're fine to just come in, shut up, make money. But CM Punk, he wants to come in. He wants to be number one. He wants to be a leader. He wants to teach people. He wants to change. He wants... And you gotta buy it because of his straight edge mentality. I mean, hell, if he cared about money... I mean, we all care about money to an extent. I do too. Like on his podcast, he mentioned he mentions a lot about money, but you know, we all care about money to an extent. But at the same time, if he was anything and everything with money, hell, he could have done that interview and gotten paid a shitload of money for it. And he could have gone to another promotion real quick, well, as soon as he could, and made a shitload of money. Even if he wrestled one match. Oh my god, there's CM Punk, a return match, one night only on TNA or something. Or Ring of Honor or whatever. And, or he could have just shut up, took it, and yeah, I'll wrestle WrestleMania, fuck yeah, and I'll shut my mouth, and I'll get paid more chunks of money. And but at this point, yeah, he was fed up, and they're like, hey, air your grievances. And he did, and that's where he had the Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt. And he says, I'm a Paul Heyman guy. Or if you hear that term, he said it first, CM Punk. And did his pipe bomb promo where he pretty much said what everyone else was thinking. I mean, he even says, you know, I don't hate you, John. Talking to John Cena. I don't even dislike you. Hell, I like you more than a lot of people out there, but you're an ass kisser. You're just like Dwayne and you know, who else did he say? Like Hulk Hogan, they were ass kissers. You're not the best in the world. I'm the best talker. I'm the best wrestler. And about how Vince McMahon is a millionaire, but he should be a billionaire, and things need to change. And even if Vince dies, it's not going to change because he has got a doofus son-in-law and an idiotic daughter. Like, you just going off, and it was fun because I don't like WWE. I think a lot of people realized there was shit going on, so hey, he's got balls, and he's going to be honest, and he's going to tell you. That's what I mean. If he is willing to do that, then why would he lie about other stuff? I mean, he doesn't seem like a guy that needs to lie about stuff. Embellish? I don't know. But lie? What's the point? If he's willing to do that, to say, fuck it, I'm leaving, and I don't care. What's the worst that could happen? And like, it's kind of hard to think he's lying about other stuff. But then that pipe bomb, he got really popular and got mainstream attention. Re-signed. That's how it ends. Kind of ends on a positive note. Of course, that's why I say it's weird looking at this now, because he apparently was hurt really badly after that thing at Royal Rumble 2014. He said fuck it, left. So about all the issues he had health-wise and how Ryback, which really enough, how many people were saying Ryback was shit? He was Rybotch, he was Rycrap, and then once when CM Punk let it out there, the shit that was going on, right when CM Punk did it, then you saw that Ryback was getting more on his game with shit. Can't tell me that's coincidence. It's like someone saying, hey, this guy's a fucking idiot, and the guys go, okay, I gotta step up and show these guys I'm not an idiot. You can't tell me that CM Punk, Ryback might hate his ass. Ryback does seem like a guy that he did botch stuff and hurt people, but it seemed like that did light a fire under his ass. So in the long run, CM Punk did him a favor to light it under his ass. That don't give him any good, but from what people said, he's gotten a lot better. And now this stupid thing where the doctor wants to sue him for defamation. And yeah, it's WWE once again being pussies. And being... WWE is... I just watch the old wrestling stuff, so at this point, I don't even give a shit if WWE folds tomorrow. Because I'm like, I'll just watch the older stuff. I'll just watch this and the DVDs and Blu-rays that I have. But, again, tangents. But I really enjoyed the documentary. I thought it was really well done. And a lot of cool extra stories. A lot of matches. My favorite one is probably the one against Daniel Bryan at Over the Limit. Did I even mention that on this too? There was matches, a TLC match with Jeff Hardy versus CM Punk at SummerSlam, CM Punk versus Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 28, Rey Mysterio, CM Punk versus Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 28. Yeah, that's right. Rey Mysterio versus CM Punk at Over the Limit, John Cena versus CM Punk at Money in the Bank, and CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan at Over the Limit. And probably the CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan is, to me, the best match on the set. But either way, that's my lengthy review of CM Punk Best in the World. Really enjoyed it. Can't thank DuckmanXXX enough. It was a really wonderful gift. So either way, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.